What's up, guys? Matt Brown here for thelines.com, playpicks.com. Going to talk to you about the first of two Monday night football games. We're going to be talking about the Washington football team and the Pittsburgh Steelers. Before we get going, as always, hit that subscribe button down below. Really do appreciate the support of the channel. We're growing here, man. It's all you guys out there. Really do appreciate it. Also, go ahead and hit a thumbs up. Give us a thumbs up, and then let us know in the comment section how you are going to be playing this game, if you're going to be playing this game, or just how you think this game is going to end up. You can see right here on the lines, we have the full odds breakdown here of the game, all the games actually, for the rest of this week and then into next week as well. Just head up here. All you got to do is click on the NFL and then click week 13 odds, and then you'll get taken to this page right here, which is a pretty great page. So you can compare all the different lines at all the different books. So be sure and do that. While we're at it, we'll look over here at DraftKings. It is sitting 6.5 in favor of the Steelers, 43.5 on the total over here at FanDuel. 6.5, 43.5. There's a little bit of juice on that 6.5. Maybe by the time this thing kicks off, could head to 7 at FanDuel. And then over here on MGM, we are sitting 6.5, 43.5. So 6.5, 43.5 across the board here, guys, at all of the books. Listen, this is a matchup where we understand, what we're dealing with here. We have an unbelievable, phenomenal, if you will, defense in the Pittsburgh Steelers. And it is a team that has, repeatedly gone out week after week. It's one of the few defenses in the NFL that has actually gone out and performed week after week after week. There's a lot of teams with defenses where we've looked and we've said, man, that team's got a really good defense. Let's call it the Bucs, for example. And then you kind of see them lay an egg, more than once. We've seen them lay an egg a few different times so far this year. And so this Steelers defense, though, has not. If you look at where they are right now, Washington's offense, not good, as we know. 27th DVOA, 31st pass DVOA. If you look at the Pro Football Focus rankings, not much better. 21st. They have the offense overall. Pass offense, 28th. They do have the rush offense up at 16th. So, kind of middle of the pack when it comes to rush offense. Antonio Gibson has been really good for this Washington football team. But, listen, they're towards the bottom in just about everything else from the offensive statistical category. Most importantly is they give a lot of pressure up. Pressure rate allowed, they're 24th. Adjusted sack rate, they're 29th. So they're letting these other teams get in there on them. And then the problem is that they're facing the Pittsburgh Steelers in this one, which number one overall offense DVOA, number one overall defense DVOA, number one overall defense according to Pro Football Focus. Number one pass defense DVOA, number one pass defense Pro Football Focus. Number 3 rush defense DVOA, number 2 rush defense according to Pro Football Focus. So the advanced stats all line up. This is the best defense in the NFL. They're number 1 in pressure rate. They're number 1 in blitz rate. They're number 1 in sacks. They are number 3 in yards given up per play. They are number 3 in yards per play EPA given up. Everything is top three in every early down success rate. Number 1 defense in preventing early down success rate. Number 1 defense early down EPA. Seriously. They are the number 1 defense across the board. It's not even close. So herein lies the problem, is how many points can this Washington team score on this Pittsburgh defense? The Pittsburgh offense and everything and all this is they're all right. 15th overall according to Pro Football Focus. According to DVOA. They're actually down at 22nd according to Pro Football Focus. We've seen this offense go in lulls, right? The Steelers offense has definitely lulled throughout multiple games throughout the course of the season. They are a team that 2 drives looks amazing and looks like they're, definitely one of the, top 2 teams in the NFL. And then they'll go 3 drives where they're 3 and out. And you're wondering what the hell is going on. Why are they doing this? They have a ton of talent. As far as where this offense is going to be sitting, there were some COVID issues. It does not look like that James Conner is going to be back, going to be the Benny Snell show for the Steelers in this thing. He's fine. Look, he's filled in admirably. I don't think it's that big of a drop off from James Conner as it is anyway. Washington defense, 5th overall DVOA. They are number 3 according to Pro Football Focus. So this defense has been getting it done as well, and they are particularly good against the pass. They are number 3 overall DVOA against the pass, so they're just right behind the Steelers, and they're number 3 overall PFF coverage grade. So they are literally right there neck and neck. Now, rush defense, kind of middle of the pack. But if you look at the Steelers team, they don't really run the ball all that effectively anyway, right? So I think what you're seeing here is getting reflected right over here when we take a look at the totals, right? 43.5 across the board at all the books. So we have 2 different the Washington offense way down, in the high 20s, one of the bottom, let's call it bottom 5, bottom 6 offenses in the league. And then you have the Pittsburgh offense middling, 15-ish, 16-ish. But then you have 2 defenses that are literally top 3 in a ton of different categories. Team sacks, number 2 overall for the Washington football team. They are getting to the quarterback just as much as the Steelers are. So this is where things kind of get a little wonky, is which of these offenses, or is either one of these offenses going to be able to score any points against the elite defenses, and that's why we're sitting with a total of 43.5 in this thing. Now, people are going to look at Washington and say, like, man, but once Alex Smith has taken over, they've really been rocking and rolling. And listen, they've been much better. I'm not going to say that they have not. They've been much better. But we do need to talk about their opponents over the last several weeks, just to put this into context. Giants, Cowboys, Giants, Lions, Bengals, Cowboys. Again, Giants, Cowboys, Giants, Lions, Bengals, Cowboys. Sub 500 teams, literally a handful of the worst defenses in the leagues as well. Giants defense has come on as of late, but Lions, Bengals, Cowboys twice. And then, again, the Giants aren't a great defense by any stretch. So Washington has benefited from a pretty light schedule. They've not faced any defense like they're going to face in this one, whenever they're getting the Steelers coming at them every which way. Again, they blitz a ton as well, and it's going to be it could be a bad day for Alex Smith back there. So let's go ahead and take a look at some player props here, and there are at least a couple worth kind of talking about. Now, what we're not getting over here at DraftKings is passing yardage on these 2 quarterbacks, and maybe that is because technically Big Ben is listed as questionable, but look, he's going to play. They just gave him they listed him on there because he's old, but like they gave him a day of rest. Everything's fine. He is listed at 276 over here over on FanDuel. And then you have Alex Smith, as you can see, listed at 213 over here over on BetMGM. If we're looking here, player props, 218, 282. Both of these are a little higher than what I have both of these guys projected at, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it's too incredibly off market here. Now, I have Big Ben kind of in the 265 to 270 range. Is there enough value to bet the under on 282 when we're only talking 12 passing yards? Not really, for me. So that said, there's a lean to the under on Ben, at least over here at MGM at the 282. Certainly a stay away. Again, that's kind of like right on where I have him projected over here at FanDuel. So a slight lean to the under over there, but really it's just nothing I really want to mess with when it comes to those. Now, if we do look over here at the rushing yards, you can see only Antonio Gibson, J.D. McKissic are listed in this one. I have Antonio Gibson, again, kind of right on the 45.5 here. So there's really not a ton of value in the player props market on a lot of these guys. It seems like this week. You can see over here McKissic. Let's see. Oh, they don't even have Gibson listed for rushing yards at MGM. So you can see they're being really, really conservative. The really the interesting part here for me is the receiving yards, because this is where this is where we have to try and figure out, okay, so look, Chase Claypool is sitting here at 54.5 over at DraftKings. If we come down and try to find receiving yards, let's see, he's not even listed at FanDuel, but over here at MGM, he's listed at 51.5. I took the over here. So here's the deal. While I have him only projected at a few yards over this, like basically him and Juju and Deontay Johnson all kind of come in right in the same grouping, right? Like come in right in the same area, right in this kind of like mid 50s. This seems a little high on Deontay Johnson, but I'm not going to bet the under on that. That said, one of these guys has to break out. One of these guys is going to do better than his projection in all of this. With that, for me, it's Claypool due to his physical matchup in this one. And plus, I do think Deontay Johnson has kind of separated himself as the number one receiver there in Pittsburgh now. And I think that's where the attention, at least the initial attention from Washington, is going to go. And they don't have enough, while they're good in pass defense, they don't have enough to cover all three of these dudes, and him and Claypool, Juju, and Deontay Johnson. I kind of like the over on Claypool the best, strictly because I'm getting the most value from where I have him projected. I have him at more like 57 yards, and so I'm at least getting 6 yards here. And again, I think there's a good chance that he could outdo his projection on that. So that's really the only prop here, guys, because again, they don't have a ton of stuff listed for whatever reason on this one that I'm looking at. If we go back to the side in the totals, listen, I got a worse number. I have 3 different teasers that are rolling into the Steelers. I got it at 7.5, so I only have them down to a 1.5. I did not think this number was going to move as much as it did. I thought the price of the short week on the Steelers was already baked in to the number. I thought that this would be closer to like 8.5. And then, which it was at one point. It was for a hot minute. It was at like 8.5, 8. Then bolted down to 7.5, 7, and then all the way through. You can see through the 7 now to the 6.5. I think this number has now gotten too short. I would play Steelers at under a touchdown here. Again, I had the number at 8, a little over 8, like 8.2, and I took the teasers to get it down to a 1.5. Now, here's the other thing you can do. There is another Monday night game, and there's a Tuesday night game. So you could open up a teaser leg with the Steelers, get it down to basically a pick 'em. It would take the 6 down to a half a point, and you could kind of go from there on this. As far as the same game teaser scenario, look, with a total like 43.5, what it tells you is if you believe the Steelers win this game, you could probably tease either side of this thing and be okay. Because again, you would be getting the football team up to 12.5 in a game with a total of 43.5. Or you could take the Steelers down to just a win, right? So if you wanted to open on either side, again, the total dictates that you should be able to win a teaser leg on the football team up to 12.5 in a game with a total of only 43. If there is a very low total, every single point means that much more. And so getting them up to 12.5 and a 43.5 point total is something that historically you would think that has a very high chance of hitting. As far as the total itself, guys, I'm not playing the total at all. I had this thing at 45, 43.5, not enough value for me there, especially considering there are a couple of ways that I do believe that this thing could actually get over. Listen, at the end of the day, like I said, there is a couple of awesome defenses going here. And the reason I think that there's a couple of paths of this thing getting over is it would not surprise me to see Alex Smith turn the ball over against this high-pressure defense. And, as many times he's going to get blitzed, sacks, different things, weird things can happen when people get sacked. And so short fields for the Steelers, maybe even a defensive type score situation and all that. And that's why I don't want to be on an under in a total so low with 2 awesome defenses like this due to the fact that with as much pressure as they bring and as often as they might get to the quarterback, we could be looking at a couple of turnovers here as well. So why I don't want to be holding an under ticket. That said, I don't have an over in my account quite yet. Perhaps it does end up there before things are all said and done. But I like the Steelers here, definitely at under a touchdown, and certainly like them in any sort of teaser leg if you wanted to open them up teaser leg and just get this thing down to a pick 'em. Like I said, there is another Monday night game, there's a Tuesday night game, and there's even lines available for week 14 already. If you see a teaser leg in week 14 that you want to go ahead and pair this up with, I don't mind that at all either. And of course, Chase Claypool over 51.5 receiving yards over here on BetMGM. Guys, as always, written breakdowns, lines, different things, all that stuff are over here at the lines. And the other thing you can do, which is really, really awesome as well, if you click this little player props thing up here, and there's a player props tool, and just you got to go in and you got to play with this thing because it's just really, really cool. And you're able to just come in here. And so, if I wanted to right now, like I said, Chase Claypool, just type in Chase Claypool, bam, it'll show the best number to get the receiving yards. It'll show you the best place for receptions and all that. It shows you all the different things like that. And you can type in any player that's going to be playing tonight, and then bam, just pops up all the best places to get the best numbers. So be sure and utilize that as well if you're going to be playing your props. Go ahead and give us a follow here on the page. Go ahead and subscribe. Really do appreciate that, guys. Give us a thumbs up on the vid. And then also in the comment section below, let us know how you're playing the game. Give us the exact score of the game. So just say, Steelers, 64. Washington football team, 62. And if you get it exactly right, we'll ship you an Amazon gift card. We've already shipped out a few as well for people that have won this. And so good luck. Of course, you have to be a subscriber to the page. You have to do it before kickoff as well. I think you know that as well. Like the vid, and good luck on all of your bets here on the first of 2 Monday Night Football games.